Duchess and Marquise potatoes. Alright, let's get started with a bit of mise en place. Some potatoes, some butter, some seasonings and some egg yolks. Alright, let's wash our potatoes, give them a good scrub. Let's peel them, make sure you remove all the eyes out of them, so we've got nice white potatoes. Okay, give them a little rinse, make sure you wash, peel, wash, and then we're going to store our potatoes in cold water, just so they can stay nice and white and ready for later use. Alright, let's cut them up into even pieces and then place them into nice cold water. This helps when heating up, releasing the starch out of the potato, and you prevent a gluey like texture. Okay, bit of salt, and then place them on the heat. Bring them up to the boil. Once boiling and tender, check with your knife, it should pass through nice and evenly. Strain your potatoes into a colander, place back into a pot, and we're going to put them back on the heat just to dry them out a little bit more. Once they're nice and dry, we're going to get ourselves a drum sieve, a ricer or a mouli, and we're going to pass our potatoes. We don't want to use a masher because it doesn't 100% prevent little lumps. You want to pass it while it's hot, because if it's warm or cold, once again you run the risk of the starch being gluey and it ends up being an unpleasant texture. Alright, you got nice, perfect 100% passed potato there. We're going to add our butter. While it's nice and hot, it's going to help melt it. Add our seasonings. And then once it's cooled down a little bit, add the egg yolks. Okay, give it a good mix, nice and thoroughly. This is when you could probably add a little bit of parmesan, some herbs if you wanted to be a little bit different. It's nice and evenly mixed. Organize yourself a piping bag with a large star nozzle and place your lovely Duchess mixture in there. Push it down to the end nozzle of the piping bag, keeping it nice and clean, nice and tight, so you can pipe nice and evenly. Get yourself a baking tray with some baking paper and then pipe some nice little rosettes for your Duchess potatoes. Just keep them nice and straight. Practice makes perfect. These Duchess potatoes are a great little catering technique if you want to have to serve, hundreds of people. This is a good option for a catering carbohydrate. Now we're going to pipe the Marquise potatoes. So we're going to pipe little potato nests, nice and evenly, a nice little base, and then come up just around the sides. And then from here, if it was for catering, you can then store them appropriately for service. We're just going to pop them aside and then look at getting our tomato concasse ready for the middle of our Marquise potatoes. Alright, so with our tomato concasse, we want to remove the eye of the tomato, make a little cross in the backside, and then poach it into boiling water for 10 to 15 seconds. Straight into cold water. Alright, well, we're going to remove the skin using our paring knife. The blanching and refreshing technique helps loosen the skin off the tomato, so it should be easy for the removal. Once it's all removed, then we're going to look at cutting it into quarters. And then we're going to remove the seeds. Okay, we can use the seeds and the flesh for stocks, tomato sauces. Let's not waste it. Then we're going to finely dice the tomato for our concasse, nice and evenly. Let's have a closer look at that. Nice, consistent, fine dice. We're going to slice up some chives. You can use parsley, thyme, basil. There's a few different varieties of herbs that you could use. Place them into your tomato concasse with a pinch of salt and some fresh cracked pepper. Give it a good mix. And then now we can fill the centers of our Marquise potatoes with our beautiful tomato concasse. We want to place them into a piping hot oven so we can get ourselves a nice golden color. Once they're nice and golden, remove them from the oven and they are good to serve. Look at that. Nice golden Marquise Duchess potatoes.